Okay, this is a video response to Zombie Bunker. Apparently he's having trouble with the trigger safety on his Hellcat. And he's got a valid point. I don't know why he thinks people are attacking his opinion. Yeah, it is a concern. However, I don't think it's a concern for most people. And I say that because most people don't have fingers as large as this guy has. I think the problem he's having is because his fingers are so big, and part of it could be not using proper technique to pull a trigger, but as he comes into the trigger guard, he's coming in at an angle, and because of his large fingers, he's pressing on the side of the trigger and not engaging the safety. Now, with my size hands, I got skinny fingers. Although I have long fingers, I wear an exercise large glove. And basically, I don't have the problems he's having. So it's hard for me to even replicate what the issues he's having. If I press on the side of the trigger, I can do it. It's not engaging for me right now. However, if I put any curl on my finger at all, it engages the trigger safety. So a couple of people had made arguments that he's not using proper techniques to pull the trigger. And I don't know this guy. I don't know how good a shooter he is or what experience he has. He claims 30 years of experience. Basically, the proper way to pull the trigger, I'll use this as a trigger, is you're using your knuckle as a hinge, and you want to keep this part of your finger as straight as possible through the pull. So when you get on the trigger, this is a proper pull. Not this. He's coming in on the side with a pretty straight finger, I'm assuming, pressing up against the side of the trigger, and then it won't engage. You don't want any curling. You don't want any pulling. You want to hinge it on your knuckle and get a straight pull back. I mean, I don't know what to say other than using improper technique and having large fingers. So that's all I got. This gun isn't loaded. It's got a snap cap in it. Probably should have done that before I started the video. Yeah, I don't have any problems engaging this trigger safety. Full grip on the gun. I mean, I don't know how many times I need to do this. And his last argument was kind of, well, stressful fit situation, you're not going to be able to pull the trigger properly or get proper trigger finger placement on the trigger. I don't see that as a valid argument to someone who trains. Yeah, if you want to use that as an argument as to someone who's never trained, never shot a gun, sure. But if you know how to properly pull the trigger, get your finger in the trigger guard properly, it's just not an issue. I mean, it is really hard for me to replicate it. It's such an unnatural way to pull a trigger. I have to have my finger straight, and I need to pull like this. It's weird. Well, I don't have the meat he has on his finger. He's engaging the trigger because there's no gap here. So he's closing that gap where when I put my finger in the trigger guard, it just goes in. I have long fingers, so I naturally have to curl my finger in to get it in the trigger guard. To go in straight, it's such an awkward thing to do. Into the guard, you'd almost have to purposely be pushing your finger through, pressing in here rather than pulling your finger back. So I don't know what to say. Yeah, it sucks. I think 4, maybe 5 people have reported issues with the trigger safety. It is what it is. Springfield should have done a better job. That's all I got to say.